I have great, and I have Melissa and Janine who can take questions in the Q&A section. So if you have questions about logging in or other questions at all, feel free to get to that. And we'll give I'll give 1 minute just to let others who may be having trouble getting in. Okay. Give everyone just another quick moment here. So hopefully everyone was able to get logged in. If you have not been able to get logged in, or you didn't even try to log in, no problem. We have example data sets here that we can work through. So while we're giving folks just another quick moment here, maybe I'd like to ask a question. So let's just get to this. So my name is Dr. Jim Lanny. I'm the CEO of Intellective Statistics. And it's fun to put on these workshops, help folks analyze their data. And if you love it and like it and love it, share it with other folks and students. So this is the basic agenda. So you have to understand the basics, which are, levels of measurement and IV, DV covariate. What's an independent variable and dependent variable? Then we're going to create the account or log into the account. Again, if you don't have any, no problem. Data setup, we can talk about that. Conducting different analyses, download and edit results, and then final Q&A. So, and I'll ask the question, because I don't want to, well, let's just ask the question. So do folks need me to go over independent and dependent variables and levels of measurement? And if there's just one hand raised, I'm going to go through it, which is fine. But if everyone is cool with that, I'm going to move along. Okay, there's a Q&A. Okay. All right.
Yep, we had some hands raised.
Got it. Okay, great. All right. And okay. All right, so let's just get to it. So levels of measurement. So quantitative data comes in 3 basic forms. Nominal, which is Latin for name only. Okay, ordinal, which is ordered data, and then scale variables, which we include in that bucket as interval or ratio. And these icons are spread throughout the tool. And so nominal, okay, is basically just a name. So it's just categories. It could be fruit, orange, banana, apple. It could be political affiliation, Republican, Democrat, Independent. It could be anything. There's no order to it. It's just aspects of that category. Ordinal have names like small, medium, large, or very active, sedentary, moderately active. So they also have labels, but they're ordered labels. So as I just stated, well, here's the example. Sedentary, moderately active, very active. So the order of more activity is increasing, but the distance between sedentary and moderately active and very active, those may not be the same distances, so to speak. So just as an example, sedentary is, hey, I get up 10 times a day. Moderately active, maybe I get up 11 times a day. Very active, maybe I'm walking 10,000 steps. So again, different distances between those labels. Scale variables have names, labels. They are ordered, and the intervals in between each of those is the same. So there's 10 degrees difference between 10 and 20, as there is 10 degrees difference between 20 and 30. So the important part is that there's equal intervals, and a lot of statistical analyses and things like the means and so forth really require a scale level measurement. So those are the 3 different types. Okay, so let's talk about independent and dependent variables, okay? Independent variables are typically things that the researcher or experimenter controls. So I want to look at distance run by between males and females. Well, I'm selecting and saying, here's males and females. Or by age groups. Hey, everyone who is under 40, everyone who's 41 and older. So the researcher is manipulating, I'll say, or deciding upon what that variable is. Okay. The dependent variable is something that depends upon the participant or the observation. So in this running example, right, I want to see, are there differences, in running a mile by gender. So the time that is run is really dependent upon those participants. So, and in that case, so again, the gender is the independent variable that the researcher is saying, this is what I want to look for differences by. And the dependent variable is something that depends upon those individuals. Just speak to covariate very quickly. Covariates are things that you want to control or neutralize the effect of. So let's just say that I'm looking at run times for a mile, okay, my dependent variable. I have my independent variable, gender, but I notice in the women's group, they're all very young. And in the men's group, they're all very old. So I'm saying, wait a second, maybe the great run times is not based on gender, but it's based on age. So I may want to control for or use age as a covariate. So covariates neutralize the effect. By the way, before any covariates are used, you want to make sure that the covariate is related to, is related to the dependent variable. So you would have to have a correlation, significant correlation, say, between run times and age. Once that's the case, then you want to perhaps control for that. Okay. So let's get logged into Intellectus, and then I think I should probably show this here. Okay. Oops. Okay. So so you should probably be at well, there's the login. Okay. Just for the quant workshops. Terrific. So Melissa has put that login there. Couple of question and answers. Okay. I know that I haven't any issue whatsoever. Again, just put it into the Q&A, and Melissa or Janine will address that. Okay. So let's go ahead and get some data in, and let's get this moving. Okay, so once I get logged in, Melissa, can I go ahead and get logged in? I get this going?
Yep, go ahead.
All right, and then people are sharing their data, so this is great. Okay, so I'm not sure we're going to be able to get to all of them, but let's just we'll look at it. So from the projects tab, I can get data in a few ways. You just saw how I got some of these shared projects in by people were sharing their projects here, and then I just accepted it. So that's one way to get data in. Another way to get data in from this projects tab is to go to upload a data file, and I can upload from different file formats. I can use example data sets. So some of these are tied to the courses, or you can just look at these things, by analysis. Or you can just enter data manually, okay, or paste in a flat file, like an Excel file. So that's how you get data in. So once you have data in, I have the Rosenberg self-esteem scale highlighted. Maybe we'll just pop into one of these guys here. So I'll take over this project. Once you have data in from one of those four ways, then you can go to data management. So here, here's a good example of, let me just see if it's, so if you give me crazy long data sets, yeah, this is going to be too much data management for the moment. I like those. Let's see here. All right. So, well, let's just do this. Let me just download this data. Okay, COI. Okay, so let me just do something else here. So when I upload data, and this is on an CSV, and I'm going to choose that file right here. All right. So one thing, let me just get this going. So as soon as you upload data, there's a data cleaning wizard, and it does different things. Like it gets rid of multiple headers, updates variable names, fixes misspellings, converts Likert type to numeric, and so forth. So let me just run some of this. So here, you have question number here. So that's great. All right. All right. So I'm going to get rid of those 2 rows of headers. Whoever project this is, I would have that the survey nearby. So I'm going to get rid of those headers.
If this is your project, if you could just raise your hand and I could unmute you too, so you can answer questions.
Yep, and then I want to get rid of this. So I want to get rid of those headers. Okay, so now I really just have the question numbers. All right, which is great. And okay, and then so that's fine. I'm going to go to next. So hello, Cecil?
Yes, that's me.
Hi, Cecil. How are you today?
Good, how are you?
Good. So I'm not going to probably do exactly what you need to have done here, but
Sure.
we'll work with it a little bit. So what is Q4 actually? What is that?
Okay, let me double check with data.
Yep, if you can grab your stuff. So just for everyone's benefit, so after we kind of get rid of the multiple headers, we just need question numbers typically suffice, but if we know a short name for these, we can figure that out. Okay. Do you have that ready?
It's about the program, and I already have this coded as like the 1, 2, 3, 4, depending on
No, we'll get to what's a good title for that?
It's the just program.
Got it. Okay, so and Q5 is just time.
Yes.
Excuse me. Semester. Let's just say.
Yes, that's the semester.
That's what I was trying to get to. All right, and I'll just leave everything else for the moment. So so here you can start editing some variable names. Okay, apply changes. Go to next. No misspelled things, great. We have Likert type scales. So I'll say no. And then do any of those items combine together to create scales?
Yes.
Okay, great. So which items go, and I won't, so what is the name of the first subscale or construct?
That's the social presence.
Social. Okay, great. And are we going to sum them or average them?
That's the average, actually.
Perfect. And which items go with social? Otherwise, I'll just make it up.
No. Oh, sorry. The first items, actually, it's the teaching goes from question 6 to question 18.
Okay. So, and are any of those reverse coded?
No.
Great. So we have our name of our social, the subscale, we're averaging them, correct?
Yes.
And it's 6 to 18, apply changes. Great. Do we have any other subscales?
Yes, there's another subscale,
Okay, what's that
That's-
name?
teaching from question 19 to question 27.
So it's called teaching as the subscale?
Mhm.
And question 19
Mhm.
through to what number, please? I'm sorry.
It's 27.
Got it. Okay. All right. One more. Apply changes. Oops, what is this? Okay, I have to say average. Apply changes. Oops. Minute. No, I hit that by accident. Okay, reverse codes. All right. So here, average. Okay, great. Okay, and you probably have one more subscale.
Actually, yeah, two more, three more, sorry.
All right, well, I don't know. So I think for purposes of this thing, I think we're just gonna keep going for a moment, okay?
Sure, that's fine.
So, yeah, so I wanna kind of, okay, current unsafe change, continue, yes. Okay, and then, sure, I'll put an ID variable in there. So that's a quick look at how to get the data in, and really then you want to do some other data management. So here for program, we can go to, this is probably nominal, right? And you have 4 different types of programs.
Yes.
Do you know the names of those programs?
No.
Okay, so we'll just say, but I just want to highlight that, you know, you can start typing right into this thing. So program 1, okay, program 2, program 2, okay, program 3, program 4. So just to know that you can put that right in the variable and change these things however you'd like them.
Mhm.
So that's probably a nominal variable, your ID, here's your time. You know, you probably want to clean up some of this.
Yep.
So, you know, under edit data, right? Because that's really not, that's not right. You know, that's 2016, but I would look to clean that up. So how I would clean it up is I would go to edit data. Okay, and then I would, you know, look at something like that. So you want to make sure that these are all kind of, you know, in a similar vein, okay? All right, so summer 1 and so forth. So you can jump in from the edit data screen to get to this. So you want things that look, you know, relatively normal. You know, so just go through, clean up your data.
Sure.
By the way, data cleaning, 90% of the job, 95% of the job. So if you're spending time with it, you're like, this is taking a long time, you're on the right track. All right. So you want to, you know, just make sure that everything is the same here, okay?
Okay.
Okay. So that's something. All right,
Mhm.
then just click save. Okay, so you know, you have, you know, some demographics. And then we have our variables at the end. Okay, you can do other data management things in addition to editing data. You can create composite scores here and say, I have 2 more to do, no problem. You can do them there. You can download your managed data that has this, you know, new variables in there and so forth. Okay. We can also plot data. So there's 8 typical plots here. So, you know, we could do a scatter plot between, you know, is there a relationship between social and teaching, okay, for example? And you might want to look at that by, you know, by program. By the way, in almost every dialog box like this, there's a video tutorial. So it's just a quick 3-minute, you know, showing how do I do this. You'll also notice that there's icons here. So does everyone know what the ruler is? See, so I'll put you on the spot. Well, you can scroll over.
I'm here. Yes, I know that.
So great. So if you scroll over, hey, it has to be a scale variable. It has to be ordinal, okay,
Yeah.
or nominal. If you don't see your variable there, right, then you probably, when it's looking for a scale, which is only numbers, you may have like a stray character in there. It might be listed as nominal. So if you don't see it, that's probably what's going on. And then hit submit. And here you can see, you know, different programs. Okay. And by the way, you can see, program one has got 770. Here are these other ones, right? Only have 19, 4, and 1. So most people are in program one. You can see the correlation between social and teaching. But you might want to, you know, dump these folks. Okay. This is the majority, or put them bucket, you know, non P1 or something of that sort. Okay. Okay. And then you can export it or download it in this export options business. Okay. Then we can go to the analyses. So the analyses are driven by R. They run the gamut from descriptives to structural equation modeling. The person who was doing path, I'm sure someone's getting with you on that, but it goes up to path and then other analyses like mediation, moderation, and so forth. So the first thing we always want to do is run descriptives. Okay? So I want to run descriptives, and I want to do that certainly on program and semester, and then on you know, my new constructs. Okay? So put those in, they calculate. What the tool does is it makes an APA table, okay? And then it starts to drill into that in words. The most frequently observed category program was P1, 852, okay? And then the most frequently observed category was semester was fall with 101, okay? And you can see the cleanup that needs to happen here, okay? All right. Where was this, what survey instrument did you use, by the way?
That's the community of inquiries instrument.
Let me ask the question differently, sorry.
Yeah.
What platform did you administer the survey on?
That's the Qualtrics.
Okay, so this is an example of that you should definitely give people options, like you want maybe a drop down where they click on it. You don't want people to put in their own things.
Yeah.
Okay, because then you wind up with that. So to the extent that you can, you know, say, hey, what is the year, and have a drop down of years, or what is the semester, or both, that would be good. That's going to save you a few minutes, because you got all these ones here just because people are very novel in the way that they put in their data. Over here for the variable names, you know, this is important, especially the mins and maxes. So you want to make sure that, well, if it goes from 1 to 5, you don't have a 55 there, or you don't have an 11 there. So because data entry could happen, or as I'm cleaning, I could mess it up. So just know that you want to make sure those mins and maxes look right. Great. This is, it's also interesting that, you know, you see the means of 4.25, 4.21. So that's interesting, because we know from 1 to 5, would it go from like strongly disagree to strongly agree, or something of that sort?
Yes.
Okay, so most people are in between the agree and the strongly agree, but check out that mode. That's the most frequent, right? Let's just click over this, okay? The most frequently observed, right? Everyone's at the top. So, so that's just worth knowing, that there's a ceiling going on there. So, and I might want to do a couple of other things, right? So I might want to correlate those two variables to see, is there a relationship between them. We kind of saw this on the scatter plot, but the tool will look at the assumptions. You can see everyone's up by that 5 on both of them. All right. And then you can see that these things are moderately correlated. Okay, 0.49. This is just a couple of ways of presenting that information. We could also run a regression, for example, and say, does one of these things predict the other? So does social predict teaching? A couple things to highlight there. I mean, one, notice that you have to have the scale variables there. Okay. Notice that we're using the terms independent and dependent variable there. Okay. And just to note that in many of these, there are options. So we've set defaults, but there's also additional options, like how different assumptions are enabled or disabled, and so forth. If you want bootstrapping, if you want the alpha different. So just know that that's available under the options. Okay, but for most of these tests, it's very simple. Select the test, put in the variables of interest, and hit calculate. That's it. And here we can see normality, and you can scroll over. One day we'll have AI interpret this, but at the moment we have a scroll over that looks kind of normal. Homoscedasticity, not so great there, because we know what was happening at the everyone's basically endorsing fives. All the way across, by the way. They only had the mode of 5, the mean of 4.25. So on every one of those items of teaching and every one of those items of social, is leaning towards that kind of 4 and 5 range. Outlier analysis. Be careful here. You have a lot of data points. So the good news and the bad news. The bad news is that outliers can pull a regression. One outlier, so that's something that's not good. That's the bad news. Well, the other bad news is that if you start eliminating these outliers, okay, if you deleted those, it's playing whack-a-mole. Maybe this one is going to show up as an outlier now, and that one is going to show up as an outlier. Okay, let me make this a little bigger. So if you start deleting these, be careful, because these are going to come up. So just know that that's happening. Can happen. The results are in plain English. So the results of the model were significant. This is just showing you one way of writing it. You can put this into ChatGPT and have it summarize it and so forth. While I'm on that topic, these things are templatized. So this, oopsie. So this phrase, okay, is published with Turnitin. So you're gonna want to again put this in chat or summarize it yourself. Okay. So just heads up that there's templatized aspects of this output. So the model was significant, indicating that of all the reasons why teaching can vary, social explains about a quarter of those reasons. So that seems pretty substantial. Then the tool also drills into each one of these, in this case just one, each of these predictors. So here, the question is, now that we know that that variable is a significant predictor of teaching, okay, that how do we interpret that beta coefficient? So the tool actually does that. So it says, this indicates that on average, a 1 unit increase in social will increase the value of teaching by 0.39 units. Okay, that seems like a lot, given the fact that they only range from 1 to 5, and secondly, everyone's kind of at that higher level already. So, and then an APA table, and then you can download this whole assuming this is what we want to do, download the document, and in that downloaded document, okay. So here's what we did. Those 3 things. We don't need that. Okay, so here's our descriptive table of programs all the time. See, that goes on and on. Okay, And then, you know, for our new constructs or created constructs, our Pearson correlation, you just tie these together. Okay, so here's our correlation between social and teaching. Here's our regression with assumptions. And then here is APA style references for all the in-text citations. Comes with it. And then you also get a curated glossary of terms and symbols for each of the tests that were conducted. So here are the terms and symbols for descriptives. Here's the terms and symbols for Pearson correlation. And here's a description in terms and symbols for the regression. We also have some raw output, which has some information that's not in the write-up itself. So that's the output. I should highlight that you could also look at the raw output here. This can be used for in teaching use cases where you kind of show students how to run a regression, but then you just give them the raw output and then have them write it up. So use example data sets A, give them look at the raw output and then have them write it up and then validate or invalidate their understanding of that by going to interpreted output. Okay, couple of other quick things and then I'll open up for questions. So what we did thus far is really kind of upload data, manage data and management, plot data and plots, and analyze data analysis. So these are all kind of get to the analysis. Great. We also have some a priori kinds of things. So here we have a decision tree to help select the test. So you can follow along this tree to get to these tests, but you can use these kind of simple, I want to predict an outcome, that's scale. You have to know what scale is. And then you can see I'm doing a linear regression. And then you can jump right to that analysis. So that's the decision tree to help you figure out what test. Once you know what test, you might want to, for your methodology or for IRB, articulate the assumptions so you can go to data plans and go to the test that we just figured out we're using. And then you can have a data plan that you can download and edit or again, put into chat to reword. Okay. There is also a power analysis. And here, if I know I'm running a regression and I have just one predictor, okay, so I can get a pretty quick shot at how many observations I would need for, you know, 0.80 power, okay, or 0.8. So, and that's also downloadable and editable. So the top 4 buttons of the analysis, these are for a priori kinds of things before you collect data. We also have consulting sessions here. Faculty, by the way, we want to empower you. So you'll get a couple of free sessions about navigating the tool, bring your own data. Nope, terrific. But for students, they may need help. And they can, you know, for $150 get help about how do I input data, conduct the correct analysis, understand the output, and so forth. And in an hour, they're going to have a draft. That's better than 2 or 4 weeks that some folks are taking. The other things I want to mention are the share feature. So folks just shared their projects with me, but it's as simple as if I have this data, just clicking share, okay, typing in students or colleagues' email addresses, click share, and then everybody will get that under their shared project. There's also video libraries built in, so you can get to the videos, you know, as I say, from in the dialog box. There's videos, but you can also get to the whole library of videos up in the how-to videos. and here things about like how do I upload data? So based on what you're using, you can upload data. Or other questions of, how do I run a t-test? Well, here's a quick few-minute videos on how to run different types of t-tests. The last thing I want to show before I open up to you, Cecil, and to others is that we have courses available. So on the Intellecta Statistics website, there's coursework courses for competency-based courses for undergrads, grads, healthcare editions of it. Very inexpensive, by the way. I think it's like an extra $8 a piece, and you have 70 lessons. Competency-based, so the grades go to your grade book, goes behind your LMS, and then you can see some of the lessons here, and you just pick the lessons that you want to package together, and then we'll help you get it behind the your LMS. Okay, so with that, so I probably didn't sow Cecil, so I probably didn't do anything that you want me to do, but what kinds of things, what kind of research questions? Well, let me ask the question. What were the other two variables? You had social and teaching. What were the other two?
And I have cognitive and engagement.
Cognitive and engagement. Okay, great. And what was your research question or questions?
I was kind of like mingling around, but I was more interested in how those presences predict engagement, because we did a meta-analysis before, and then we found that the cognitive variable, it's highly correlated
Yeah,
with students
engagement.
students perceive learning. And now I'm trying to say it's about like the cognitive engagement, because the based on that meta-analysis, correlation was over 0.9.
Fine. So what we did here is kind of similar to what you need to be doing.
Yeah.
So we would run descriptives. Okay, we would still do that with our 4 variables. One. Second, I would do correlations among those 4 variables. Okay, 2. And then 3, I would do the I would run a regression, right? Except we're going to have engagement here, and we're going to have social teaching and cognitive here. So that's basically, wasn't so far off. So that's what I would be doing. So I will for sure share this project with you, but hopefully you got the idea of you have some cleaning to do. Particularly this business over here. Okay. So that's one thing. To create the composite scores, you can do that by variable calculator. You can, add a variable name. You could do a quick mean composite, okay, and then select those other variables. And then descriptives, correlations, and analysis and regression. I think you're kind of home. Does that make sense?
Yes. Thank you.
All right, sure. And you're faculty?
Yes, I'm faculty.
So yeah, and if you want to come visit, I mean, hopefully, you may not need me for any of this, but if you find that you do, feel free to reach out, and I'm happy to help you manage some of this.
Sure. Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome, and thank you for sharing your project and allowing me to kind of work with some of it. And yeah, cool. All right, so other folks are as we name the project. So other folks.
A couple things before you get into the next one. If you could
Okay, I'm sorry.
quickly show how data should be set up again, like variable names across the top, and then there's a lot of code books. So maybe talk about that we don't necessarily need those, and you can just write out the nominal. Right.
So typically, if you had a variable, so in like SPSS or in other programs, You used to have, gender, right? Okay. All right, and then you had, 1 for male, 2 for females, okay? And sometimes the data comes in that way. Well, first things first is that when you go to gender, first of all, those numbers are going to come up a scale. So we want to change that to nominal, right? And then we want to actually put the labels in there. So we don't have a code book where 1 is male, 2 is female, or any of the other kinds of code book. So you just literally put in the label, okay? Male, just type it in, and then female, okay? And you can make a new variable or just stick it right into that existing variable and hit submit, and it will change those numbers into the labels. And I'm going to get that out of there. So when I share it, okay. All right. Did that answer the questions?
Yep, I think so. And then the other question is, one of the participants shared a path analysis project with you, but if you could just show an example of the path analysis with our example data set, that would be helpful.
Yeah. So I'm going to choose an example data set. I'm going to go to path analysis. Okay. Freedom. Okay. So here. Okay. So here's an example data set. I'm going to go to the analyses, and I'm going to go to path and click on path. I'm going to go to the visual model. Yeah, I'll put a couple of variables in, and then here, just click here. And then when I click in here, I'm going to put in, does press 60 and fairness 60 really predict something in, freedom is 65. Okay, great. And then put the regression lines in. So just draw it from here to there, from there to there. And I think that's it. So update the model, hit calculate. So just like all the other tests, the assumptions are built in, templatized output. Plots are built in, multivariate outliers are built in, and then check this out. I mean, this is nice in 2 seconds to have a draft of your path analysis. You can see standardized and unstandardized coefficients, the beta coefficients here, sample size model fits. Okay, so these are the very basic ones, TLI, CFI, and so forth. So not only do we identify the test and the result of that, but we also interpret that, hey gosh, having values of minus 0.61 indicates a poor fit. This is obviously, mock data, and so forth. So you could just look at that output, but you have a working draft in, 5 seconds. So hopefully your path analysis is that smooth. Again, as I said earlier, most, 90% of these things are data management. So just heads up on that, just to make sure your data is clean, and it's worth getting clean data first, because you can keep the data, you can reuse the data, and not have to mess with it again. So, okay. Other questions? Anonymous, okay. I have 3 independent variables and 1 dependent variable. Which test should I use to make the comparisons? Well, is the, okay, anonymous attendee. Well, so the tests are really driven by 2 things. One is the way that you phrase the question, okay? And then levels of measurement. So we're back over here. So we start. So here, are you wanting to predict? Are you want to explore differences? Do you want to explore relationships? So that phraseology makes a difference. So if I have 3 IVs and 1 DV, I might want to predict that one DV from those other ones. So perhaps a regression is one way to do that. How would you score true, false, or I don't know data? Great question. Let's start another project and I'll keep, well. So if I have, variable 1 and people may be true, false, don't know, okay. So that's possible, and that I have data like that. So I would I don't want the data cleaning wizard. I'm just gonna X out of that. So here I might want to say, first of all, what is the correct answer? All right, so if trues are 1, let's just say trues are the accurate answer, false and don't know are incorrect answers. So I can just, again, you don't want to keep those labels in there. I want to go to manage, and then I can say true and just put a 1. And then maybe I want to combine these two. I'm going to merge them into zeros. Okay, and put in that same variable. Once you do that, you can, and if you had variable 2 through whatever, then you can, average them or sum them. So that's how you turn these kind of true, false, or multiple choice, figure out what the value should really be. By the way, that should be scale. Okay, I want to keep it scale. Because I want it scale, particularly if I want to add them or sum them, or average them or sum them. All right. Is the program able to do confirmatory and exploratory factor analysis? Yes, it can. So I go to projects. So the under the analysis, the CFA is going to be sitting right here. Okay, same visual editor as we just saw with the path, same process. And then the EFA, something different, and the EFA is sitting here, and you could just put in the variables of interest. Oops. Okay. Select the rotation, and again, this would take a while to actually get this output in other tools. So again, we're trying to forward you to get to, hey, what does this all mean, Alfie? Rather than, looks like you have 2 factors, without being reliant on a tool of like, okay, what assumptions do I need to look at? How do I get to those? What does it mean? So you have kind of an interpreted output with assumptions and APA tables and figures in pretty short order. Here's my 2 factors. Okay. Other questions? Can you go to another shared project? Sure. So the projects. So let's just go to can this individual from where are you? New Zealand?
If you could raise your hand, I will
Thank you. All right, we have anybody in there?
Oh, here we go.
Okay, boy, you did a lot of things already.
Yeah, but I'm still struggling. I want to make comparisons between chemistry, physics, and mathematics, and then
And you want to
compare
see if
with
these scores
gender.
different from each other?
Yes.
Okay.
So I want to determine the gender patterns in physics, chemistry, and mathematics.
What was the part that you added gender in there? Say it again.
Yeah, it's gender patterns in chemistry, physics, and mathematics.
So, okay. So, all right. So let's just do a few things here. So, so we're looking for differences by gender and across discipline. Is that right?
Exactly, exactly.
Okay. So let's just see if I can get my decision tree to work. So I want to examine, and I don't even know, so you would have. So, okay, so I want to, explore differences between groups, okay?
Yes.
Or do I use differences over time? So let's just go differences over time. So, because even though they might all be simultaneous, chemistry, the other one, the other math, it is the same it's the same individual across all three disciplines. So I'm going to say I have more than 2 dependent variables over time. They are divided up into groups. Okay, I have no covariates.
Okay.
So I'm doing a mixed MANOVA. That's one way. I wouldn't have done the mixed MANOVA. I would have done a mixed ANOVA. So, so the mixed ANOVA looks like this. So you go to mixed model ANOVA, and then my within subjects variables is chemistry, physics, math. My between subject is gender. By the way, that's going to make for a pretty plot. So, okay, so before we do that, I want to go to that pretty plot. And that pretty plot should look like this, just to kind of get a quick sense of this thing. So let me see if I can get that. So here, I want to look at these guys by gender, okay? Line's fine. Okay, so that picture says one picture says 1,000 words. All right. So both groups are doing better. Okay, males and females are doing better in math. And females are doing better than men across the board. Okay.
Okay.
All right. And you can see what's happening here. So that says a lot. The other thing that's happening here is there's no crossing over. It's not like females are doing better in physics and men are doing better in chemistry. So there's no interaction. You just have a main effect. Women are doing better on each of these. So we can look at the mixed model of ANOVA, but there's also this other piece of you want to see, is this a significant difference between that? Is this a significant difference between that? Is this a difference between that? Is there a significant difference between here and here and here and here? So the mixed model ANOVA does some of that, but just a heads up that I'm going to want to do 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm going to want to do 9 post hoc tests here. Okay. I want to know, is there a difference between here and here for females? Is there a difference between here and here for females? Looks like there is. Is there a difference between here and here for females? So I want to run those 3 paired t-tests for females. I want to do the same darn thing for men. Here to here, and there to there. Okay. So I want to say, just for females, are there differences among these 3 disciplines? For males, are there differences among these 3 disciplines? That's, I'll say, within gender comparisons. Okay. But I also want to do between gender comparisons. That is, what's happening here, what's happening here, what's happening here. So the mixed model ANOVA gets us going pretty good. So mixed model ANOVA, here's the assumptions. Okay. It seems okay. And then here are the results. So what this says is that overall, there's a difference here by gender. And you can see females are doing better on all these domains. There's also within factors, things are changing between chemistry to math, math to physics, okay, somewhere, but no gender interaction. And that's the thing where there's no crossing over. So here's some of the post hoc tests. So some of these were already done. So for gender, okay, between physics and chemistry, no difference. However, between physics and math and chemistry and math, there are differences there, right? All right. Ditto for males, Okay, right? There's no difference between physics and chemistry. Those are the two lower ones, but between chemistry and math, physics and math. So what's happening here is that with regard to this plot, there's no differences here to here or here to here, but physics differs from math for females. Chemistry differs than math for females, in the same exact picture for males. The only thing that's missing here is, excuse me for going back and forth. The only thing that's different is looking for these comparisons. Okay, so to do that, let's show you a little trick. So one, we're doing an independent sample t-test. And I'm going to see if there's differences on physics, okay, by gender. So that's all I'm doing. So physics by gender, okay. I want to do math by gender or chemistry by gender. And then I want to do my final one, which is math by gender. I know I'm going quickly, sorry. But you guys can get this video and just stop it. Okay. So, and just to kind of review those three. So here are so independent t-test looking at physics by gender. I won't bore you with the assumptions. No difference there. Okay, on physics by gender. So let's go to the next one. We have assumptions. Okay. There is a difference on chemistry by gender.
Chemistry.
Okay. All right. And that's a pretty good effect size. The other one, this is the also on math by gender. Okay. So what this is saying, again, that plot really tells a lot, is that there's no difference here, but there is a difference here, if I have it right, and there's a difference here by gender. So the mixed model ANOVA said, is there differences by gender? Yes. Are there differences over domain? Yes. Are there differences within a particular gender? Yeah. Everybody, physics and chemistry differ than math for both genders. And then we did the last part of the tennis swing, which is t-tests between here, here, and there. All right, does that help?
Yeah, very helpful. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Pass it along. Pass it along. After 10 years, people say, where have you been? Where have you been? So I say this to everyone. Let me make the selfless plug. Please tell others about workshops, about the tool, and for your students. They're all struggling with Excel and SPSS probably. So please do share it to the extent that you can. Or other faculty, of course. We can do demos at your meetings, faculty meetings, whatever. All right. You want to do one more, Melissa, or do you want to wrap up? What's your pleasure here?
Yeah, I think if you have the time, if we have other projects, we should finish them up.
Okay, great. Finish them up. Okay, great. So let's just go to this one. Take this over. Okay. So just like the first one we went to, really you want to kind of clean these up, right? So we go to manage. So you have all of these ones here. No good. Age, vaginal, route of delivery. Okay, so this is not, what is this variable called? So you want to just you can raise your hand and get in there. So, but this has to make sense. It looks like you need to make a few variables, code and type. So
this is my code book. I had wrote a message that when I uploaded my data, my Excel file had 3 pages on it, and it just uploaded the first page. I didn't
that's
know.
right.
This is the
Okay,
code.
so great point. Should have stated that when you upload Excel, it only looks at that first page. So that's
I didn't know.
yeah. But what you can do is you can go to edit data okay? And you can add additional columns and just paste in those other sheets, okay?
Oh, okay. So
Make
this isn't really data, like this is just the code book, and then I have pre-implementation data and post-implementation data. I
see.
also emailed the whole Excel as well.
Okay. Data collection. Data collection tool 6.6? No.
Data collection tool Colasano.
What's it called?
Data collection tool Colasano. It starts with DMP 8001 data collection.
Oh, you sent them over here? Okay.
Yeah. I sent it there and I emailed it as well. But like I said, when I uploaded it here to the project, it only took the first page.
Right. It only takes the first sheet. Is this any of you in here? So, oh no, these are.
I think she emailed the data file to you.
Yeah, I
To
did.
what email?
To
James at intellectusstatistics.com.
Okay. Okay, here we go. Okay, got it. DMP 8001 data collection tool.
Correct, yes. Thank you.
All right. You faculty or student?
I'm a student.
All right, all right. Okay.
I'm a struggling student. I'm trying to figure it out the best way I can.
Listen, I get it. I get it. Okay, so this is a CSV. Okay, wait a second. So choose files, EMP. I appreciate your honesty. All right, so this is probably Excel, probably maybe CSV. Nope. Okay.
It's the second one.
Oh, was I there?
No, like
Oh.
when it actually like CSV or the other XLS.
All right, it's an Excel file. Hang on.
Yeah. Yeah, that one.
Okay, so this is DMP 8001. All right, let's see what I should have opened it up first.
Gonna upload that first page, so you might want to just open it up.
Oh, okay. That first, you didn't correct that first page. Okay, got it. All right. All right. Hang on here. All right. As we say, data cleaning is a large part of this thing. So let me get to, where is this? Okay. No, you're fine here. This is fine.
Okay, that's how it's supposed to be.
No, this is fine. Yeah. So you just want one. The only thing I would change is you just want one row of headers. Hey, wait a second.
Okay.
Control C, Control V, Control C, Control V is probably a better way of doing this, but Control C, Control V, and then get rid of these.
Okay.
All right. And then frankly, I mean, since we're here, oh wait, what's going on here? I messed up over here. Well, I'm gonna ask it for some reason. Okay. Okay. Depression. Okay. Behavioral health. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna get rid of these. So here's a problem. So one problem is that you have insurance status. So evidently you could be a 1, 2, or 3, correct?
Correct. Or like a combination, like that person has
2 and 3. Yeah. So we're gonna call this. We're gonna call this. If you're a 2, so just note in your thing a 2, 3. We're gonna call it a 4.
Okay.
All right. So that's how we handle that. You can put it in different variables, but okay. So, right. Okay, great. And then now we just want to paste this data in. Simple. Control C. So now we can go back, go to enter data manually, go to paste. All right. And then it was just a behavioral, right? Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, great. So Once we have data in, we just save it. All right, you're gonna X out of that, X out of that, continue. Okay, so here's our data. So we want to clean up again. We have patient, route of delivery. This is probably nominal, so let's clean that up. What's a 1?
1 is vaginal.
G and the L. Okay, oopsie, I don't like the 1 though. Okay, and the 2 cesarean.
Correct.
C, yes, that's it. I'm not sure I'm spelling that correctly, but okay,
Close
close.
enough. I know what you mean.
Close enough. Okay. All right, and then we want age is fine. Race we probably want to change to nominal. Okay, what's a 1?
Black, African American.
Okay, white.
2 is Hispanic. 3 is
Hispanic.
white.
Got it. Okay, and white. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So, okay, and then here, wait, that was race, and we have ethnicity. Okay, we get all these things. Okay.
Okay.
So, all right, insurance status, let's clean that up. So that's nominal. So what was the ones?
Insurance. 1 is uninsured or self-pay.
Uninsured, self-pay.
2 is Medicaid. 3 is commercial.
Okay.
And then 4 was both Medicaid and commercial.
Okay, I'm gonna put that right in there. Okay. And then we have depression and behavior. All right, so let's just do them. Okay, we're there. Okay, what's a 1?
Ethnicity, Caribbean.
Okay, 2.
2, American.
Yeah.
3, Latina.
Okay, put it in that same variable, hit submit. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Okay, language.
Language. 1 is English. 2 is Spanish. 3 is Creole. 4 is American Sign
Oh,
Language.
there is no 4. I think that was just a Creole.
Oh, okay.
Put that in the same variable. Okay. I think we're probably there. Okay, parity. Let's just finish this thing.
Okay, 1 is nulliparous. You could put NULL. And 2, multi.
Okay. So data cleaning is done. Now, what is this 1 and 2 business? What is the
So for the depression,
Yeah.
so for depression, either they had like a negative depression screening, a positive depression, or it was not completed.
So let's get to what these 1 and 2s are. What is the
1 is negative, 2 positive.
Got it. Okay, got it. Okay. So again, it could have been a number, but we're here.
Yeah.
So, but
Behavioral.
labels.
So they got an appointment was offered and accepted for 1. Offered.
So this one, this 33, we have nothing there.
What does that mean? Nothing.
Well, there was no.
Oh, like no answer.
Correct.
Oh, because it's only if they had a positive screening that you have to go to the behavioral health column.
Okay. So okay.
So should I make like the blank one NA?
Yeah. Not applicable. What's a 1, 2, and 3?
So 1 is offered and accepted. 2 is refused.
1 is offer.
Offered and accepted.
Offer and accept. Yeah.
2 is refused.
Okay.
3 not offered.
Is okay.
Okay, thank you.
Got it. So okay, so first things first. So we want to go to the analyses, run descriptives on everything.
Okay.
All right, so we're gonna check all. Okay. We don't need patient. Okay, so just conduct descriptives and just make sure everything is cool. So, okay, more vaginal, more African American, more Caribbean, more English, and so forth. And then for the scale variable age, everyone's about 31. Okay.
Mhm.
And min and max, you want to make sure that's right.
Mhm.
Then somebody 45,
Yeah.
baby.
Yep.
Somebody 20, the baby having a baby. All right, another story. All right, so now what are the research questions that you were seeking to answer here?
So my question is, how does the implementation of the Edinburgh postpartum depression scale compare to using the other scale that we were using? Like, do we have more patients that that are found to be positive and have behavioral health appointments?
And have appointments here. Is
Right,
that correct?
right.
So say that again. So people who are positive and then the appointments. Got it. So I think what we want to do is, I think it's as simple as doing descriptives. I think we just want to do descriptives on behavioral health. Okay, on behavioral. Okay. And really we just want to see that, and really we want to just filter, all we want is the depression to be positive, correct?
Right.
Those are the only people we're looking at. So, and then we also, over here, the other filter is for the depression, but no, not for that, sorry. For the, well, the other one is for
Um, behavioral health.
behavior,
Yeah.
right? And I only want to consider these folks,
Mm-hmm.
okay? So we just want to see what's happening here, only for those that are positive on depression and
Yeah.
not the NAs, but refused, offered, blah, 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 okay?
Yeah. Right.
So that's the outlook of it. Now, you could run a chi-square test of independence, but with the samples like that, I wouldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I would just say, for those that are positive,
Mm-hmm.
you know, over half of them were offered and accepted it.
Right. So my goal is like, this is what you just did the analysis on is all the pre-implementation. Then I have a whole separate sheet for post-implementation and
same
I want to
thing.
compare them. Yeah.
We do the same thing that we just ran. Okay. So you're gonna run that same, when you go to here, you go to edit, okay? And you can see what I did here. All right.
Okay.
Now, you're gonna have, you know, depression behavior for your post, okay?
Right.
Go through the same process, okay? That's one part of it. Go through the same process. You want positive, you don't want NAs. What does it look like? Now to compare them, you're gonna want to do, let me just without messing you up too much here, let me edit data. And let me add a column. All right, so let's just say you're gonna have these guys here. Okay. Post. Okay. Post. By the way, are these the same people or different people?
Different people.
So in that case, you're gonna want to set it up like this. You're gonna want to create a new variable. A new variable here. I could add a column. So time. Okay, all of these people are pre. Okay.
Right.
Okay, Control C. Okay.
Okay.
So, oh, did I not get all of them? All right, but you're gonna need pre. But you're gonna need new rows and you're gonna want post, okay?
Oh, put them below. Okay.
Correct, because they're
Not
different
side by side.
people. And this
Right.
is good for everybody, so
Okay.
so yeah, so different people, you want the new line, but you're
Okay.
gonna distinguish between them between pre and post. Then basically, you're gonna want to do a chi-square test, okay? on, I'll just, let me see if I can just do this real quick. I'll just set it up for you. You're gonna want to control C. Know that you have 40 here, okay?
Yes.
You'll see that. Okay. You'll fill it in correctly here, okay?
Okay.
But just to give you the test, you're
Yeah.
gonna want a chi-square test under non-parametrics from my data set. It's okay. Let me see here. Okay. One issue is time.
Mm-hmm.
The other issue is going to be behavior, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And then you're gonna select by the same darn things. I'm gonna want depression to be, oops,
Positive.
yeah.
Okay.
So it's not filled, it was split by. I want depression, shoot. I'm doing it wrong. So filter, sorry.
Filters. Okay.
Filter depression, I want just positive.
Right.
And I want the behavior to only deal with these guys. Okay, that's
Yeah.
the setup. Time by this, and you're going to be golden. And I'll run it, but you can go to the, I probably don't have enough data, but that's the test you want. Time this, okay? And
Yes.
let's see if that's significant, and it will interpret it for you.
Yes.
The thing is, I can hear you, I feel you.
Thank you.
And then you want to go to you want to go to chi-square, and then you want to go to edit, but that's going to be perfect. Just rerun it, okay?
Yes. Thank you.
Write date in, okay? And then the other thing is I want to copy. All right, Control C. So here, and then I want to put this, and then share with you. Hey, okay, here. Blah blah.
That's me.
Okay. Okay, and share.
Thank you.
All right, you good to go?
Thank you so much. I appreciate you, Dr. Lani.
Well, tell 3 people.
I shall.
All right, you got it. And social media, wherever you hang out. Okay.
I've already told at least, well, I told everyone in my course, so that's
Perfect.
people right there.
All right, there we go. That's a good start. All right, terrific. All right, who else do we have here? Do we have anybody else?
You have M. Fisher, she's on.
Okay. Melissa, is that where I should be going to?
As far as I know.
All right. All right, so here's a data set. You probably don't need this row of headers. So week 1, 2, 3. Okay, I saw this data earlier. Was this the data? I think this is the same data.
Yes, that is. It is.
Good afternoon.
Hi, thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right, so here, so basically you have week 1, 2, and 3. And then what is this though? So explain what this is. So here's the 6 weeks pre. Here it
No, it's 6 weeks. I consolidated the 6 weeks pre-intervention at the top. And
that's
then the below it says that's each week. And then I put the total down there just to kind of keep me in line. Basically my question, I thought this was pretty easy, but I don't know. My question is, I'm measuring the provider escalation from a new tool that's been used.
Yeah. Provider escalation, what does that mean?
Right, so if I do if I use a tool to say you call into the doctor's office, and as the nurse I'm using the tool, does that decrease the calls that goes to the providers or not?
Okay. So having you answer the phone, is that more efficient for the system? Is that something?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so I guess the question is, do these numbers do these things for advice.
So that's the medical advice is the amount of calls that
Right.
came in. And
Okay,
then then was completed by the providers, was completed by the nurses, but
yeah.
you got
So I
it.
think one way to handle this, so one sample t-test is going to be your friend here.
That's
Uh,
what I thought, but every time when I do mine, I probably have it set up wrong.
I
It
think
keep-
the data is set up a little bit odd, but it's not your fault. I mean,
Okay.
the way you had it was reasonable, but it's just not what we need for this. So really, we want to have, this is going to be, well, first of all, we got to edit this data. We got to edit this data and get this out of here. Because we have that. Okay, so I want to get rid of, remove that row. Okay. Then the other thing is, so I want to be, I think it's okay. I think it is okay. So here, after that's done, I think I would just run descriptives, you know.
I kept getting the error message.
Well, because you had that other row in there.
Oh, okay.
So I just took the row out and then, so let's just see what that looks like. Okay. So here's your time frame. Yeah, that doesn't seem quite right either. We should probably fix some of that. So that's okay. So here we don't want this to be nominal. So I would just change this to just get rid of this.
Do I even need that row? Because I'm really looking at
Maybe not, but
escalations.
I'll show you so I just want to get everything in the right level of measurement. So this is scale, okay. All right, so here is your friend. So your friend is you want to go to analysis and then t-test and then one sample. So what you want to compare is this medical advice, okay? Okay. That data compared to the test value, which is that pre-intervention. That test value is 1053, okay? All right, that's this. We're comparing this data to 1053. Okay.
Yes.
All right, so we put in that variable, the test variable, hit calculate. All right, guess what? It is significantly different. Okay, well, this is the average though. Yeah, I see the problem there. So, how would I slice this apple? I think what I would do is, I don't want to compare all of these to that. But I do want to compare this divided by 6 weeks. What was the average? Okay.
So I have the total at the bottom. Does that help you?
No, I want that variation in there. Okay. By the way, I would have taken that week by week basis numbers, but at the moment, let's just divide the 1053 divided by 6. You had an average of 175. Okay. This divided by 6. So basically, I want to edit that. And I don't want my test value to be 10, the total. I want it to be the average of the weeks, which is 175.5. That's one way of slicing this thing. Now, the question is, does our weekly average, okay, our weekly average of 191 differ from that test value of 175? Okay. So one, it's not significant, but two, guess what? It's a little bit higher than it was with that mean before the intervention. That's probably not good for you, but it's worth talking about. All right. So now you can do the same thing with those other variables. So you can have, completed by provider. Now this looks like you got some making some hay here. So you had basically saying there's more calls are coming in here. A.
Mhm.
But now we have this business completed by provider. Well, 894 divided by 6, okay, that's 149. Well, you know that 149 is gonna be different than these guys, but let's run the tests, okay?
So should I
So I would
have
put in
that
that
same
next variable.
concept for
completed by
the provider escalation versus no provider escalation? Because that looks like that's significant also, and that's what I'm measuring.
This is gonna be significant. This, you're comparing, let me just run it real quick. We're comparing this, each of these to
Mhm.
that 149. Okay, which is 894 divided by 6, all right? On average, they had 149 completed by provider each week. All right, correct?
Mhm.
All right, so that is significantly different. The 6 weeks post completed by provider, you only average 2 per week. We compared it to, they had 149 being completed prior to that.
Mhm.
Massive. So there's a huge reduction.
Right.
Okay, and you want to do the same one sample t-tests, comparing the average pre-test divided by 6 weeks compared to your other variables.
Okay, so if I was doing the escalation, that's what with the no provider escalation versus provider escalation?
What is, where is that?
The last two.
Okay, so same darn thing. I'm
Mhm.
comparing, yeah, you want to do the same thing. You want to compare this 158 divided by 6 to this. So no provider escalation, you can see that's going to be higher. Here, 120, it's going to be lower here, right? 158 divided by 6, I'll just run them real quick. It's 26.33. Just run it real quick. And we're comparing that to 26.3. Okay. Let me just run the other one real quick too. The other one is the provider escalation. It's the 894 divided by 6, 149. Okay. So provider escalation compared to 149. So I'm sure these are both significant. So here we're looking at no provider escalation. We're comparing our average of the post 6 weeks of 88 to the pre of 26. You with me?
Mhm. Yes.
Okay, and that's statistically significant. On the other side of the thing, we have provider escalation. We're comparing your average of 18 over the post 6 weeks on average, compared to the 149. That's significant. So that's massively lower. So the no provider is much larger statistically, and the provider escalation is lower statistically.
Mhm.
All right, you should be good to go. The other thing I want to do is just rerun that. All right, and then
Now I have one more question. So so on that thing, it says 6 weeks. So am I comparing the 2 weeks of the no provider with the bottom of the total of the 532? Because that's the pre and a post.
you're comparing these 6 weeks of pre
That's
to
a pre and
to
then,
these 6 weeks of post.
right. Okay,
That's what we've just compared.
okay.
All right,
Thank you.
you're welcome. All right, send 3 people along. All right, who else do we have
Can
here?
you send that to me?
I think it's already yours.
Okay,
Right? Wait, where was I? It was
yeah,
over
I think it
here,
is
right?
on
No,
mine,
you
yes.
just take it back.
Okay.
Yep, you're all good. You're good to go. All right. Do we have anybody else? Melissa, what do you want to do here? Do you have more?
Do you have other shared projects we didn't get to? If you've shared your project and we didn't get to you, can you raise your hand? I know some people dropped off.
Well, that's what I was just looking at.
Yeah. All right, it doesn't look like any of the other shared projects are still in here.
Fine. All right, very good, useful session. Thank you. Please share webinar recordings. All right, special thanks to Jim. Thank you. Your passion to help and simplicity. That's my middle name is helpful and simplicity. So my sincere pleasure. I hope you got some fluidity with the tool, what it can do and so forth. And Melissa, I'd probably cut down the recording before sending it out, but because we kind of got into a little minutia there, but anyway, whatever you think.
Yep. But we'll send the recording to everyone, and then through that link that I emailed you earlier today, you'll have access to this tool for 1 week. If you have any questions, or if you're faculty, you want to talk about trialing or sharing it with other faculty, please reach out to me and I'll put that info in the email as well.
All right, yep, terrific. Everyone, have a great rest of the week. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Share it with other people. They don't know it exists. So thank you all. All right, bye-bye for now.